Where's your AI? Is it an AI theater? Are you seeing AI output or are you seeing AI impact? Welcome to the Scaling AI from Activity to Impact podcast, formerly known as Scaling with Agility. And today, what I want to walk you through is my thinking on what I'm seeing out there in most organizations that I talk to and what should be the goal with AI. So the first stage for organizations that have AI ambitions is typically to start using AI. So they plan a bit, they look at it, but the first step where there's real stuff happening is activity. And it's good. You give people, at least some people in the organizations, access to AI tools. You're piloting some stuff. You're maybe running AI literacy training, running hackathons, experiments. There's a lot of motion. And you could present a lot of activity that is happening and say, we're doing AI, but you're not necessarily seeing any value from it yet. Like there are probably some spots where there's value, but it's not scalable. And that's a good start. Don't get me wrong. What happens in a lot of organizations that I see is that at this point, the activity plateaus. You start to celebrate the activity, to enjoy that activity. And, it's easier to measure how many people are using AI tools, how many people have been through training, how many people participate in certain things that you organize, and to show that and check the box that we're now doing AI. That is especially a comfortable position when the reason you were doing AI was FOMO, fear of missing out. Whether it's the board level, leaders, you feel like we should be doing these things. It's the thing to do these days. So we're doing something. But the longer you stay in this AI theater, which is, there's a lot of activity around AI, but it's not really moving the needle, the more you'll probably start facing questions like, how much is this costing us? And what's the return on that investment? What are we getting from it? Another thing that will happen is that this AI activity is not helping people in the trenches understand what's the vision for how AI will really affect work at the organization, at the company. And that combined with the overall fear and uncertainty that is rampant in the industry around what's going on with AI leads to the point where people might actually sabotage or at least refuse to participate in using AI to become more effective because they're afraid that it will hit them, that they are actually training literally their replacement. So those are the problems with AI theater. It's not really providing any value, and at some point, it might actually create some risks to um, what people are thinking in the organization, and it's um over time there's less and less support for AI improvements. The next level that I want to talk about is AI output, or what we might call the AI factory. We are seeing improvement in specific areas. Those AI experiments are turning into certain deliverables. There are more skills, there are applications, there's groups in the organization that are seeing higher throughput. The classic example is the engineering, software engineering, or especially because AI coding agents and harnesses were trained on open source code. They're faster in coding. Their improvement in coding is much faster than in other areas. And also, engineering teams are typically early adopters for technology, which is not a huge surprise. So we're seeing them deliver more output. We're seeing organizations where the engineers are not doing manual coding anymore. They're coding everything through the agents. In some cases, we asked to only code through agents. We're seeing that starting to happen across the industry. And the result is, in many cases, higher throughput, more output due to AI. And that's great. But in many cases, that output doesn't turn into impact. We're still not seeing any change to, let's say, the revenue per person in the organization, or we're not seeing better buying into our products. We're not seeing efficiencies hitting the wider organization. And the reason is that we might be facing a bottleneck. There are a couple of reasons. One is engineering might not be the bottleneck. It might not have been the bottleneck to begin with. So maybe we're building things, but those things that we build, this output is sitting in queues waiting for somebody to do something with it, to maybe deploy it, maybe to use it. Maybe on the other end, there's an upstream bottleneck where our speed, our throughput at feeding this very hungry AI augmented or assisted engineering organization is not good enough. It's like feeding um, a set of teenagers that do sports all day. You spend all of your time going to a Costco or Sam's Club and buying tons of protein and tons of food to feed them, and it's never enough. So that's kind of what it feels like in these sort of organizations. And what happens at this point is these engineering teams will work on things. They will create more stuff. A lot of time, what that actually does is making life harder for everybody else. So it's a local optimization of the engineering organization, but it's neutral or even detrimental to the overall throughput of the organization. So what we really want to achieve is the next level, which is AI impact. It's not about delivering more software necessarily. It's about two things. One is, even inside our product group, we need to make sure that it's about impact and not output, that we improve our ability to feed this engineering team with really valuable product ideas, that we're able to discover those valuable ideas, fail fast, and when we have a good idea, to build it as well as validate that it's actually working and tweak it all the way to making real change for the customers that is eventually impacting our business. So that's one path to AI impact. The other aspect of AI impact, and what you might call an AI native organization, goes way beyond the product engineering team or the product lifecycle. There might be other areas in the organization which are the bottleneck. The bottleneck might not be the product anymore. The bottleneck might be elsewhere in the customer success factory. It might be that people aren't aware of our product, or that we have a leaky bucket of customers. They come in, they start to use, they don't stick with the product, and that might be a product opportunity. Maybe we can improve the product to improve retention, or it might be the processes that we use to monitor what our customers are doing, to learn from that, to meet them where they are, to improve the whole ecosystem around these customers. Our bottleneck might be our pace of onboarding partners, if that's our business model. It really depends on what are our key business processes and what's our inflection point. What do we actually need to do right now in order to scale? AI impact is we use AI to the point where we attack these bottlenecks. We improve end-to-end flow in the organization in our key business processes, whether that's building our product or revenue, the customer success factory, or making something physical, or whatever it is. We focus on the real constraint across the business, not doing local optimums in the area where it's easy for AI to make a difference. We subordinate other groups. We might tell our engineers, listen, your capacity, your throughput is already amazing. You're doing great things with AI. How about instead of improving your output, which doesn't really help us at this point, we leverage some of your expertise to work on other areas in the business. That's a hard process for many organizations. That's culturally against how many organizations work. It cuts across silos. It asks people to work on areas that they don't feel is. But it also is a deja vu to some of the things that we've been doing inside the product development pipeline for many years. And in manufacturing, when there's a bottleneck, the theory of constraints talks about subordinating the system to it and people finding ways to work outside their comfort zone on other areas where they might make the most impact. So to sum up, the goal that we're talking about here isn't just to do activity with AI. The goal isn't even to create output in a certain area of the organization. The goal is to achieve AI impact. And that's why a lot of what I'm talking about these days here in the podcast and in general is aspects of how do we notice that we're focused on activity or output, and how do we leverage AI to deliver impact, especially at our organization's constraint. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Scaling AI from Activity to Impact. Coming up in this season of the podcast, more thoughts and conversations about what to do with activity to impact. How is it affecting the development lifecycle for organizations? How is it affecting groups beyond the product organization, including interviews with practitioners in the trenches that are leading AI journeys for their organizations and are going to be sharing what they're doing to shift from AI theater and output towards AI impact. I hope you'll tune in. And if you have a great story or case study or experience to, or even some thoughts to share in this space, you know where to find me. Love to feature your perspective on the